Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dandelion Cottage. I'm Leslie Watkins, and today is Paper Crafting Saturday. So I think I have a fun program for you today. I'm going to be doing a flip through of the design journal prototype that I've been working on. So if you've been following along for the past few weeks, you'll know that I've done a series of videos on note cards that all share the same sort of neutral color theme. And I've shown you some preparation work that I'm doing for my design journal workshop that's coming up this fall. So if you're interested in learning more about it, please subscribe to Notes from Dandelion Cottage. And you can do that on my website here. And just subscribe to the newsletter, and I'll be able to send you information about the upcoming design workshop and much more. So anyway, the reason I call it a prototype is because I put a lot of effort into my designs beforehand. And oftentimes when I do that, whether it's for a 3D object or for a surface design, I'll go through several different iterations, and so I'll just use craft paper or whatever I happen to have to hand to do it, because I think that color can be distracting. And with the design process, I really want to focus in on the elements of design, like line and form and texture and pattern, those kinds of things. And, just as a little background information, I used to design in New York years ago. And even at a company like Tiffany's and Company, we would spend weeks, even months, working on a design before it was approved. And the same in book publishing. The manuscripts, and with all the art and the layouts and so forth, would go before many, many eyes before they were finally approved for publication. So the background time spent figuring out how you want to make something, whether it's for the structure and the utilitarian purposes or for the aesthetics, takes a lot of time. So the finished result may be simple and look easy to do, but sometimes those are the ones that have the biggest amount of time spent figuring things out. So I want to show you what I have so far in my design journal prototype. So let me put you down. So here's the design journal, and it's just little, and it's got a soft cover. And if you go back to the videos that I've put up recently, you'll see a lot of the different elements in those videos of how I arrived at this juncture. I'm just checking my settings, making sure that I'm live. Hi, Kelly. Hi, Ginger. So, the idea behind this book was I wanted a place to keep all of the note cards that I made that I really like the design of, and I wanted them to be easily accessible, and I wanted to be able to look at a lot of things and just get some ideas, because some of the best ideas and designs that we have are not just one-offs, but they are generations of the same idea. And one of the things I love so much about the internet and sharing with you all is that when someone does a design and then other people pick up on it and do their version, we all learn from one another. And that's why I'm always asking you, please share what you do. I'd love to see it. Just put your images in the comments below, and let's all work as as a team. So this is my little book, and it has an elastic closure. It's got a little dangle on the side here. Okay, and this is just a little collection of charms and chains, and there's even an odd earring here, something that I had from about 40 years ago that I lost the mate to it, but I always kept it because I always loved those earrings. They were these beautiful little garnet drops. I don't know if you can see that. It's on the tippy end there. But there's a little key and a dragonfly and some other things that kind of relate to the theme of the journal. Now on the cover, I did an abstract watercolor painting, and then I gilded it with the gold embossing powder, and I added one of the dragonfly embellishments that I made, and all of those things are in previous videos. So it opens up like this, and you can see in the front I have a tuck, and I used up the rest of that DSP that I made, and you'll see that throughout the video. So this is just a little card that you could write on the back, and it just tucks nicely into that little pocket. And on the back here, I have another pocket like a library card, and it's been embellished with a gold foil die cut, and it has a little tag, and that pulls out. And some of you may recognize this tab as an old retired punch. I don't know the name of it, but I have an old whale tail punch. I'll show you what it looks like. It's this one, and I was able to get this online on eBay, but for those of you who have been using Stampin' Up! Products for a long time, you may have one of these, and this is just a fantastic punch. I just love this so much, and I used it quite a bit in making this journal. So you'll see that. And I also added stitching throughout. I have a new sewing machine. It's a zigzag, and it allows me to stitch around the edges of my pieces that I'm layering up here. So I'm going to go through the book page by page. Many of these things you've already seen because I already did a video on them, but I think it's nice to see them all pulled together. So just a word about the book. It is a hollow back book, which means that there's a space between the spine and the text block. And what that means is that it sits very nicely. It opens up and lays flat, unlike other methods of binding. And there are 8 signatures for a total of 64 pages. So it's a nice chunky little book, and it's not done. It can hold a lot more, and with the elastic closure, it can expand and contract depending on how much you have inside of it. All right, so this was the pocket envelope card, and I'm just going to untie this bow, and this flips down like this, and in the pocket we have these butterfly ephemera that you can then use to decorate your projects with. I'm not going to talk about the names of all of the various stamps and dies that I used on this book today, but what I will do, excuse me, let me get a sip of water. What I will do is I will list many of them below after I do the video. I'll have a link to my online store. So if you're interested in seeing some of these items that I've used, you'll be able to see it there. And by the way, if you get onto my mailing list at dandelioncottagedesign.com, sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage. When you sign up for the design journal workshop, you will get a complete list of materials and tools and supplies that you'll need to be able to complete the project. And there will also be a kit that will be included with the class so that you can follow along and make your own journal. Okay, so that is page 1. And then I've put some blank pages in here, and this is all bound into the book. And you can use these pages to add more projects. You can do some journal writing. And what I think I'm going to be doing is recording my measurements and instructions for the various projects. Now here's a card you haven't seen before. This is one that has a vellum window in it. So you see the light coming through there. Okay, and these were those beautiful meadow dies. And again, with a little bit of stitching here and there and various embellishments. So with just a few things, you can make a very interesting design. This one uses an embossing folder on the gold shimmer vellum. It also has the die cuts, and it has a peacock feather from one of my peacocks. I have 2 peacocks, frankincense and myrrh, and this is the time of year when they begin to drop their feathers, and I go out and I collect all those feathers and I wash them and I use them in my projects. And for the people who sign up for the Design Journal workshop, you're also going to be getting some feathers, so you can include that in your designs. Here's another peacock feather. Very subtle design, beautiful texture. I've also included a floating pocket, and this is something that you'll see often in junk journals, and I'll come back to this in a minute. Here is a pocket card with a tag. I used the tailor-made tag dies to create many of the tags that you see in the book. Again, the gold shimmer vellum paper embossed in the background and the die cuts from the gold foil. Here's a 2-page spread with a repeat of the tag design on the left. And this little bird is popped up on a dimensional to give it a little bit of height, and there's a little bit of lace attached to the bottom. A beautiful saying here. And here is the tag pocket card with this beautiful little tag made with the tailor-made tag dies, and you can see the wonderful detail that you get. I think you can see that pretty clearly. And then it's got the dragonfly and again this DSP that I made in a previous video. So let me show you, I'm going to show you the floating pocket here. So this is just a little construction that is kind of a tri-fold, and it has a series of pockets and flips. Many of you will recognize this magnificent stamp. This is a great favorite. This was one of the original Stampin' Up! Stamps. I don't remember now what year it came out, but almost 30 years ago, I think. Lovely as a Tree. Lovely as a Tree was the stamp set. And what I did was I created a little note card using the stamp, some linen thread, and then a little space on the inside to write, and that just tucks into this pocket on the back. And then there's also a little tuck space in the corner where I've just torn some DSP and applied it so that you could slide in some little tag or a message or a quote, whatever you like. So I'm calling this the Kimono Fold because to me it looks like a kimono. And I'll see if I can zoom you in a little bit more. So it unties to the side like so, and on the front there's a tuck space similar to the back where I've just torn the DSP, and I've added a little tag that has some bits and pieces from the little bowl on my desk that collect all these scraps. So I've got a little tiny peacock feather, and I've got some offcuts from the gold foil dies, some ribbon, some cardstock, and the DSP, and there's a space on the inside to write a little message. And there's that vintage tab punch used to create that top. And I just have this opened up, and this just slips over the tuck space. So this thing opens like this, okay, and inside again you have another place to put something. Here's one of the die cuts from the Meadow Dies. Again, I have a little fold over card here with some space inside for writing, okay, and this is the gold foil and a peacock feather and a little bit of stitching, some of the DSP in the background. And I just have that in this pocket where there's another place to put a photo or whatever you like. And this is just sitting over the flap like so. And then on either side, you have these flaps that open, and there's a space where you can add either ephemera, some writing, or some kind of surprise, something you want to save and tuck away. And when you put the tags, I should show you these tags, but when you put these tags in the pocket below, the tags hold the flap closed. So here is one of the little birds from the new Blackberry Beauty, I think, Sweet, I think it's called. And I've added some shimmery crystal effect to the top of that to give it a little bit of dimension and shine, a little bit of sparkle. And then I've got a big tag in the back with just a simple stamp. You can write over the top of this or just leave it as it is, use it as a bookmark. And it has this nice gold ribbon attached to the end, again stitched with the gold foil die cut. So back to the book, more journaling pages. Here's a very simple collage card. It's got the textured embossed folder paper in the background. I think this is Tasteful Textures, And then it just has these scrap pieces of DSP, scrap ribbon, and embellishments put together to make a nice little design. And then in the back of the book, there is an envelope flip out. So this consists of 3 of the medium, very vanilla envelopes, and they've been stitched around and sponged, and then I've used some of the spatter stamps to make this wonderful spatter image. And there is some heat embossing on the closure here that has a little bit of sparkle to it, and that's held in place with a brad. And this just opens up like so, and get you on there. There is a belly band in the center here where you can tuck a note or some paper or a photo. It's got one of the beautiful die cuts with some sponging and Wink Estella for some glitter. And then over here, I have this design that includes a chicken feather and some gold foil embossing, some stamping, sponging, and again, that little bird with the shimmery crystal effects on it to give it a little added dimension and some embellishments. And then inside here, it opens up again, and you have all of these pockets. So I've got two little tags that open with a narrow pocket here, and then a much bigger pocket on this side. And I just used a little bit of washi tape to decorate the edge of those cards, and there is some gold embossing on this wonderful border stamp here in the center, and the dragonfly that appears throughout the journal. So that is the envelope flip out, and that just folds back up like so, and then you just take your string and wrap it around the button to hold that in place. Okay, and what I'm doing is I'm just taking that floating envelope and I'm just tucking that into the center of the book, and then the whole thing closes up just like so, and closes with that elastic. And if you want to use your journal on a shelf as a decoration, it will stand. Okay, so you can have it handy so that you can look to see all of your design ideas. And you can also add a lot more envelopes and tuck spots. So if you wanted to collect some ephemera, just make a bunch of butterflies or dragonflies or whatever you like, cards and tags and so forth. You can store them all in here. And at some point, maybe I'll have a dangle workshop as well, and I'll show you how you can make these really pretty dangles to decorate your journals. So that's my video for today. I hope you liked my design journal idea. I hope you're interested in coming to the workshop. I'd love to have you. I'm hoping that a number of my designer and fabric artist friends will participate so that we can all bounce a lot of ideas off of one another. You will have plenty of room for individual art. So you can collect whatever cards you have already, or add whatever ideas you have that I'm not showing you here today. Anything goes, but you will have a structure that you can work out of to collect all of these wonderful ideas so that you can use them to create more beautiful things. So thank you so much for joining me today. Let me just check and see if there's any questions. Oh, Kelly, you have that punch. That is an awesome punch. I I paid more than I should have to get that punch, but I'm really happy to have it. The Teresa likes the floating pocket. Hi, Teresa. I hope things are okay down in Baton Rouge. Jocelyn. Oh, thank you so much. My pleasure. I hope it gives you some ideas. Okay, well, if there's no questions, hey Ginger, you like the stitching? I'm getting better. I'm still a beginner, but I'm really having fun with the sewing machine. I have to admit, it's a big distraction right now. Okay, so that's the show for today. Here is my website again, where you can go and sign up for notes from Dandelion Cottage, and get all of the information about this workshop and many others. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. We have a big storm coming this way. We have a hurricane that is going to be hitting New England tonight at around 8 o'clock and go through the night with a lot of wind and a lot of rain. So I just want to give you a heads up. If I don't show up on Monday for Marvelous Monday, it's because there's no power. I live in an area where in the mountains where the power frequently goes out, so I'll be fine. I have everything I need here. I'm pretty much off the grid, but I will not be broadcasting if there's a power outage. So stay well, stay happy, stay creative. If you've got any ideas along these lines, please share them. We'd all love to see them. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you in the next video.